and welcome to Newsclick. Today we have with us Vijoo Krishnan, who is Joint Secretary of All India Kisan Sabha. We are going to discuss about past 1 year, about Modi government and the agrarian distress that this country has seen. Hello Vijoo.
Hello.
Modi had promised various things in its manifesto and had promised various agrarian reforms that he will bring in that will benefit the farmers. But it looks like nothing has happened on the ground. So what's the entire thing which he had talked about and what he has not delivered?
The government has gone back on each one of these promises that it had made. Another promise it had made was about a national land use policy which would ensure that wastelands would be developed and also that the food security concerns of the nation would be protected. We all know what the government has done about the Land Acquisition Act. It has literally led to an act which would promote corporate land grab at the expense of the farmers. And despite widespread protests, the government is trying to go through and impose this particular land acquisition ordinance on the country. We also see what the government is talking, especially what Mr. Modi speaks and what is actually being done on the ground is there is no connect between the two. For instance, on the WTO negotiations, our position was that the interests of the farmers would be protected, the food security concerns of the country would be protected. This was the public posturing at the WTO. But in the country, the government issued a notice to all states saying that any state which is providing a bonus over and above the minimum support price, the government would not, or the Food Corporation of India would not take up procurement from those states. Even some states like Chhattisgarh, which is a BJP ruled state, which was providing some bonus, they are at the receiving end of such. And it is not that it is not being counted. The people are coming out in protest against these policies.
Vijoo, you have been traveling so far since you have covered a lot of areas. So what's the position of farmers' suicide? I mean, the government had promised a lot on it that it will reduce, but what's the situation today?
The government promises during the elections did lead to the farmers and the rural poor going in a big way in and supporting the BJP in the elections, and it in no little way contributed to their victory. But today the government's own accounts mention that there has been an increase in the rate of suicides by the farmers. It is happening even in areas where earlier such a phenomenon was unheard or unseen. For instance, I have just returned after a 2-day visit to the villages of Haryana. In the last 1 month, over 60 farmers have committed suicide, and this is a scenario, this is an area which was showcased as the green revolution area, and also the rice bowl of India and different kinds of thing. But these areas are also witnessing farm suicides in a big way.
What can you trace as a background of all this agrarian distress that we have seen not only in past 1 year, but since last 2 decades we have seen a series of agrarian distress in this country?
Actually, if you have to go to the root of this crisis, we have to speak about the neoliberal economic policies, and the farmers' suicides have almost simultaneously with the implementation of neoliberal policies. We have seen in the last 2 decades that more than 3 lakh farmers have committed suicide at the rate of 1 farmer committing suicide every half an hour. Unfortunately, all the ruling class parties, whether it is the BJP, the Congress, or even parties like the Aam Admi party in Delhi, all miss this very important point. They try to each one of them are trying to grab the mantle of being farmer friendly or portraying themselves as the son of the soil, but they are just not able to address this particular issue, that it is the neoliberal policies, the withdrawal of the state from investment in agriculture and rural development, and also the gradual dismantling of the support systems that were existing, that is leading to this acute crisis in the agrarian sector. The BJP and Narendra Modi's campaign had been heavily financed by the corporate sector, and today is actually the payback time for Narendra Modi, and that is exactly what we are seeing unfolding in our country as far as the agrarian policies are concerned, as far as the reforms, so-called reforms in labor is concerned. In each of these sectors, it is to promote corporate profiteering that this government is functioning, and that has led to this U-turn on whatever has been said in their manifesto.
We have seen on this land acquisition ordinance and the act which has been brought by the Modi government, there has been a wide protest, people are on the street. So what's the way ahead for the farmers, and what's the role of left organizations like All India Kisan Sabha in it?
The land acquisition ordinance, the blatant manner in which this government is trying to push through despite widespread opposition to it, has in effect managed to unify and build broad-based, issue-based unity around this particular matter. And going ahead from there, we have also been able to take up the issues, not just the question of land acquisition or protests against land acquisition and the ordinance alone, but we have also managed to link the important question of land rights. We have come up with this slogan of Bhu Adhigrahan Nahi, Bhu Adhikar Chahiye, and a wide-ranging different sections of people, different organizations, people's movement, different organizations of the peasantry coming together to take up this cause. In fact, just after the land acquisition ordinance was passed, across the country, we first burned the copies of the ordinance, more than 300 districts. We had a massive protest in Delhi on 24th February, and again on May 5th, we had a massive protest. This was also simultaneously, we found there were different protests across the country in different state centers, state capitals, as well as the district headquarters. We also have taken up a signature campaign where we are going to reach out to 5 crore people across the country as part of this campaign against the land acquisition ordinance. The left and the organizations like the Kisan Sabha have taken upon themselves to unite the broadest possible sections, and even if in case the Modi government manages to push through this draconian land acquisition ordinance, we are going to, at every single point of unjust and indiscriminate land acquisition, we will build the broadest possible unity and resist such efforts on the ground.
Thank you, Vijoo, for giving us your time. We would like to end here on the note that struggle is the way ahead. Thank you for watching Newsclick.